Progressives is a big topic, and I have so many stories about progressives. But I wanted to make the focus of this video the fact that some people seem to have a very bad experience with progressives, and they go on to say that they'll never buy a pair of shitty progressives again. So let me give you some facts on the matter. Progressives are very practical. I rely on them. I've built myself over 100 pairs of glasses over the years, running my own clinic and working for other people, getting stuff given to me, manufacturers wanting me to try their product. Anyway, I live by them. There's no way I would ever go back to a single vision lens, that is to say a single focal point lens for anything. And so why is that? Let me explain. Back in the day, and I'm talking Benjamin Franklin, single vision lenses were pretty much what was available. One focal point for one distance. And we can take anybody's vision, what we call refract it or neutralize it for distance so that you see perfectly at distance, and then we can give you that focal point or anything between that and your nose, okay? And so when you get to be like me, a bit of an older dog, you need help up close. If you can see at distance, you're going to need help at near. Likewise, if you can see at near distance, you may need help for far. So you can't have both when you get to a certain age. So that's where multifocals come in, and that's what Ben Franklin did for us. I'm going to show you a picture of Ben Franklin and maybe some bifocals. Bifocals came about with the need to do both. To see at distance, you can see out your window, see down the field, but also read. And again, you can't have both, and so you need a lens that will accommodate for both for you. In my world, I give you excellent vision for distance, as sharp as I can give you, what's appropriate, and then I give you a nice boost for up close. And people often see better than they have ever seen before. So now what do you do with that? How do you construct that difference between near and far? Bifocal gives you one focal point and another focal point for distance. But what's missing here is the mid-range, the computer distance, for example, or anything where you're working with your hands in your face. Frequently, we have computer terminals right in our faces. The laptop will be a little lower, like mine is right here. Either way, we need to adapt for it. We need to give you vision for near. Let's say you select a lens only for near. So again, back to this idea of a single vision lens and not a progressive or multifocal lens. If you select for up close, that's great. It's going to be perfect across the visual field, but only at a very narrow depth. So if you need to see up closer or further away, immediately you need to switch to another pair of glasses. The progressives gives you that range. You need to have that range for much of what you do, for much of what we do. Some people are happy with a single vision lens, and again, I'm talking about older people. Some people are happy with a single vision lens, but mostly people want the range for distance and near. And so we opt for multifocals as opposed to a bifocal. Bifocal is a multifocal, but it's only got two powers. A progressive has basically infinite power range between your near focal point and your distance. This means that your PC or your computer can be in focus as well as the distance. So why do people have trouble with these? Well, mostly because they're selecting the wrong lens for the tasking, or they're buying cheap lenses. You don't need to spend a bunch of money to get a decent lens, but do not buy your progressives online. There's multiple points of measurement that need to be absolutely correct to give you the best experience. In some cases, if they're off even by a few millimeters, you're not going to like what you get. If you need a multifocal, go and talk to somebody locally. At least get your measurements from those people. It's pretty important that the biometrics are appropriate to you. So, number one, do you have a good prescription? Number two, do you have a decent lens? Is it a cheap bargain lens, or did you go for something that's actually appropriate for you? Finally, number three, the progressive has to be appropriate to you in your tasking. I have multiple progressives. Some of them have a near bias. They're better for computer work, like this one, and others are better for driving, where I have less of the reading and it's more of a small pocket for reading, where most of the lens is for distance. So this lens, most of the lens is for up close. I have a bit of a window on top where I can see further away, but most of the lens creates this near range for me where it's very comfortable. It's for working with my hands, working with my brain, working with clients up close, okay? I also use this lens for cooking, for music, for photography, crafting, all kinds of stuff. I need an up-close progressive lens. At the same time, this lens is shitty for driving. I will never use this lens for driving. It's too blurry far away. I've got the near advantage, but that's at the expense of the distance. On the other hand, if I'm a truck driver, or rather, even for myself, when I commute to work, I'm going to take this pair off, or whatever pair I'm wearing for up close. I'm going to put on my driving lens, which again gives me more of the distance and a little window for reading. Okay? Make sure you have the right prescription, make sure you have a decent quality lens, and absolutely make sure that you have the right lens for the task. All progressives aren't the same. If you sit at a computer and you're over 40, you should really be thinking about a computer progressive, or what we call a near progressive or near bias progressive. If all you do is look in the distance with occasional reading, you want a general progressive or a distance bias progressive. Progressives can be shitty, no doubt about it, but they can also be extremely liberating. I would never operate without my progressives. That's my message for you. Give them a try. If you're having trouble, there's probably a good solution for you. Let me just also advise to the people out there, to the audience, and to therapists, anybody with a brain injury, a neck brace, something's going on, especially after a significant accident, avoid progressives. Absolutely avoid progressives, especially if there's limited mobility or trouble with balance. And with that in mind, I'm going to leave it there. And once again, just to remind you, go ahead and subscribe, follow, and click for notifications, and we'll see you in the next episode.